I don't give a fuck. You're tripping with JJ.
Wow!
Fuck you, asshole.
Tell your bitch I said hi, nigga.
I think predators are the issue.
Well, the fact that they have a different anatomy presents a challenge for parents.
Okay.
Concerned, loving parents to say,
I don't want my kid to see like
it's inappropriate and it's unacceptable.
Female like sharing a whatever.
Isn't that subjecting the child to psychological and emotional abuse?
So, that's a fair question. So, I think that first of all, I think I don't think it's. I'm referring to the Bible a lot, but I know that a lot of your listeners maybe aren't Christian. I don't know. I don't want to assume they are, but I'm just using it as a reference. So Adam and Eve, like, being naked wasn't a big deal until, like, they sinned, right? It was like, naked, whatever. Like balls out, whatever. Sun's out, guns out, all that. And then they sinned, and it was like, your balls, right? And so, as a wrestler, and I did it for so long, like around my teammates, I was like so comfortable around them. I mean, around your teammates, it's just like whatever. And even there were times around like coaches and stuff where I had to really be careful because I was so comfortable, you know? You sit in a sauna and you're in your sports bra and like a swimsuit bottom.
Right.
You're in your underwear, essentially.
Right.
But it's like acceptable, right? And there's like a gray area with that, right?
Right.
I've had a couple situations in my life where anybody and their mom could trust me with their child, but I am so careful that I don't even allow for certain things to happen around me because grooming is a real thing.
Right.
And just because you're trustworthy doesn't mean they should do certain things around you, right? Because it's not always about you, it's about the other people, right? And so I think, so I have a gym membership, and I go to the gym a lot, and a lot of times I do a lot of stuff at home because I have anxiety and I don't really like to be around a lot of people when I work out. But so when I go to the gym, it's usually to like sauna or use the steam room, or it's very minimal stuff. Like I go to the gym minimally. It's not to be seen.
I'm Kelsey Campbell, motherfucker.
No, I don't. And a lot of athletes aren't like that, but I really get anxiety. It takes a lot of energy for me to like go to the gym. I can't explain it. It's a lot of energy for me. And I was with my fiance's youngest kid. We're really close. We butt heads a lot, but we're close. And she's kind of like I joke, I'm like, she's like a nasty, normal 12-year-old. She doesn't like shower very often. She goes barefoot everywhere. Like she's not my child. I can't tell her what to do, whatever. But she's living her life, whatever. I'm like, I think you're gross, but I kind of wish I was more like you. It's kind of like that. Because my life would be less stressful if I wasn't so OCD. So we've gone to and sometimes she just, my fiance always says, like, she admires you, whatever. And, when you're in that role and you're like, actually, she's just a butthead and she's always like a brat, but you see things how you see them.
Right.
And we go to the gym a lot together, and she always wants to come with me, but she's like, I want to sauna with you, but then she'll go in for 1 minute and then just sit in the chair and like be on TikTok. Like she just, I don't even know why she comes, but I always shower after I work out. And I'm usually like, whatever, I'm not worried about like being exposed. It's a locker room. If she's with me though, I don't expose myself ever because she's kind of family, and I don't, like, I have no right to expose her to somebody that personal, right? That's not, it is different when it's kind of like, I'm not saying it's ever okay. I'm just saying like, it's not my place to expose her to myself. That's not okay to me. So I remember taking. At the gym I go to, they have changing rooms. They have curtains on the showers. It's awesome. And when she comes with me, I'm very careful about it. And the first couple times she didn't shower, and then she's like, well, I think I'm going to shower, but I don't really want to like change. And I straight up, I looked at her and I was like, you never have to do anything in front of anybody. You can go in the changing room. You can walk right in there with your stuff on, take it off in the shower. And I was like, I do this because I'm an adult and I do what I'm comfortable with, but you never have to do this in front of anybody if you're not comfortable. And it was very important for me to tell her that. First of all, I think at the time she was 11, and no one had told her that. And it seems obvious as an adult.
Right.
But think about it. When you're a kid, those things aren't obvious.
Right.
You just assume whatever you see.
Right.
So I should do this because you're doing this? No.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and go in the shower fully clothed. I'm going to go in with a towel. But like, I'm not going to expose you to something that is not okay.
Right.
And so, and you know, I had another situation with this wrestling family out of this MMA gym that I train at a lot. And the mom trusts me a lot, and she's Hawaiian. And I'm telling you, Hawaiians do not let people outside of their family watch their kids be around. I mean, Islanders do not play around.
Right.
You are Ohana if you've proven yourself Ohana, right? You don't get to be Ohana just because you're good at wrestling. So this, you know, and I was like one of the first like Olympic wrestlers to start training there. Not the first, but one of the first. And they've grown since then. But this mother, and she's close to my age, but she has like 7 kids because she's an Islander, and they just have great ovaries, I guess. Whatever. And like her 2 oldest children needed to lose like 1 pound each for a tournament. Like they don't cut weight or anything, but they had like 1 pound to lose. And I was like, oh, I'll help them in the sauna, whatever. It's normal after MMA or wrestling practice to go sauna. That's very normal. It's very much in our culture. And she's like, and when you're actually losing weight, as I mentioned before, you actually sweat more if you have less clothes on. Now, there's this, like, when you're new to martial arts, you think, well, if I have more clothes on, I'll sweat more. But that's not true at all. Like, your skin needs to be exposed to, like, kind of humid heat to sweat.
Right.
And that's how you sweat more. I mean, wrestlers have this down to a science. I could tell you how to lose 10 pounds by tomorrow. It's water weight, but I could tell you how to do it.
Right.
And she said, I've talked about this so many times with people, and she's amazing. And to this day, she's never let me babysit her kids, like, which I could. I love her kids, and I'm close to them, and I'm close to the family. But she said, you know, if they need to like strip down or whatever, it's fine. Like if that'll help them sweat. And I turned her and I was like, so-and-so. I was like, I'm like, that's so awesome. But I was like, I can't do that. And I didn't get all serious and heavy, but I was just like, I can't do that because even though you can trust me, I don't want them to think that's okay around adults. It's not okay. Just because an adult tells you to get down to your underwear, even if you're me. And so I didn't do that because of the concept of grooming, because grooming is you train them to think this is okay. You start to train them. It's brainwashing. It's a form of manipulation. But,
Right.
And so like I personally, you know, to me, it's not so much, okay, well, should they be exposed to like somebody that's changed their, like, I think it's actually I don't think that's the right question. It's not a bad question, but I think the question, it's like saying, well, is the sky blue? But if you're asking like an artist, they're like, well, it's actually kind of like aqua. Like, you know, if you want to get specific, it's a lot more than blue. And at 6 o'clock in Arizona, it's kind of purple pink, whereas like
It's beautiful.
somewhere else, it's not, right? And so it's not that it's a bad question. It's just like, I can't tell you that someone that's transgender is a criminal for using the bathroom that your child uses. What I will tell you is you got to train your child as their parent. And a lot of these issues, even I worked at Starbucks for many years, so I was around a lot of transgendered people. Honestly, half of my staff was. A lot of these situations, a lot of times there is some issues in the parenting, and there is some abuse early on. I'm not saying it's always like that, but a lot of these issues do go back to parenting, not always. And I mean, freaking free Britney. I would argue that 75% of that movement is transgendered or gay people. Like, honestly, I would argue that those people are why she's getting out of her conservatorship. And I actually have insight on conservatorships as well. So like, you're probably going to leave this and think, gosh, she can never say yes or no. It's not that. It's just that when you've seen certain angles of things and been put in situations, literally I've been put in situations with children and I've been trusted, but I also know what grooming looks like. I know what it looks like. And it's not about me. It's about them and it's about you.
Right. Would you have your child use a bathroom alone with a transgender?
No, but I also wouldn't have my child use a bathroom alone with any adult.
Right.
That wasn't me.
Right.
So I wouldn't discriminate the fact that they were transgender. But the answer is no.
Okay. So you wouldn't vote for that bill to be passed?
I'm not familiar with the details of the bill, so I can't tell you that.
Well, that's part of it.
Right. The familiarity with the details, right? That's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, everything is changing, everything is evolving.
Constantly.
Especially in politics, right? How is politics playing a role in your daily life routine right now?
I think it evolves for me personally too. I think I realize that I think it's important for, like, I think I have been vocal at different points in my life, but I realized being vocal, you have to make a decision kind of early on. Like, am I just going to complain about stuff? Or am I going to run for office? Am I going to take a role in this actively? Am I going to be an influencer? Because even influencers make an impact, right?
Right.
People can say whatever they want, but there are people on social media that have a huge impact. Like literally, on TikTok, what is the genre of music in South Korea that's like crazy famous? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Beat
Like
me.
K-pop
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I
That's the
sound
new
so
one.
old. Oh my gosh. K-pop, right? So they have had a huge influence on politics. They're in South Korea. They're not even here.
Right.
They've had they've literally been the reason why some of these rallies have been empty seats. And like, it's kind of incredible.
Right.
So I do think that if you're going to have an opinion and complain, I mean, you can complain and have an opinion all you want, but you've got to decide early on, like, okay, well, what's my role in this? If you're just going to complain, okay, I don't really want to hear it. If you're,
Right.
I think, like I said earlier, I think the first step is voting. I think for me, I vote, and when I vote, I mean, court justice, everything. I read about every single person. It's not something you can do in one day, in my opinion, unless you're like a sugar baby and just chilling at your house and you have nothing else to do, because that is a lot of literature.
Right. A lot of reading.
So I think, and I've read about people that are like, I'm going to take the day to research and make my choices. And I'm like, you think that's going to happen in a day?
Right.
Like, whatever, you're a fast reader. But it has impacted me because I realized I believe strongly in voting and using your voice, and that I feel like everyone has that right, and people have literally died for that right. And I personally feel like it's an insult to not vote, at the very least. But I understand that some people choose not to. I feel that for me, I've been a little bit quieter in terms of like being vocal on like in the social media, simply because at this time in my life, I'm not doing more than voting. So I feel like I will voice my opinions, and every now and then I do, and I certainly get responses. But I realize that just having an opinion is it's not a bad thing, and I'm grateful for the right to voice it, but I think where I'm at right now is I'm like, until I decide to run for office or truly influence people's decisions, and there are things I've spoken up a lot about, but until I really decide to take a stance on that publicly, I have been a little bit more quiet recently. So, and like everyone's different. There's people that I wish were more vocal, that I wish cared more, but I also know when I was trying to make the Olympic team, I posted pictures of the flag and I was like, happy 4th of July, and had not a care in the world, and police brutality was still happening. So that was just the chapter I was at, and people are where they are,
Crazy. Right. Absolutely. Now, your life right now, okay, you're doing music as well, which is a passion for you from day one. What are you doing right now in music that's going to affect, the everyday lives people? Good or bad?
So a lot of my music is, most of my music is like real life experiences, or most of my music is music I wrote. I would say like 99% of it is.
Nice.
And I wrote them out of real experiences. Even my most recent video that I did, that song, was written out of a very challenging time in my life.
The mantra?
No, it was the New Strong. Mantra was my first video. The New Strong is my second.
Strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you in New York?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen that one. Very powerful.
Thank you.
Very emotional. That was personal for you.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Like, when I wrote the song, I had gone, there was a period where the honeymoon of being a high-level athlete had ended, and I realized that it doesn't matter if it's USA Wrestling or the Olympics or just a random person. It's when you're not, like, doing the thing at number one and winning, like, you're disposable. It happened really fast and subtly, and at the same time, my grandma passed away, and then my high school sweetheart, who we had reconnected, died suddenly, like literally dropped dead.
Sorry.
And my grandma, who, like, as you now know, like, had a profound impact on my life, died.
Sorry.
And I had a family, I'll just say, I had a family member that was homeless regularly, live with me, and that was very challenging. That family member is actually in a conservatorship right now.
Oh, wow.
There is a place for conservatorships, I will say that. And I followed the Britney case really closely, because I do think there is a place for it, but hers is like straight up abuse, straight up. Wow. But I do have some insight on that. And a lot of these, like a bunch of that stuff happened at the same time. And I went through a really, really, really hard time.
How did you deal with it?
I self-medicated, and I was depressed, and I got a dog, and I couldn't really afford therapy.
No
really.
Therapy, right.
I mean, I don't even think at that time there was like online therapy, but it wasn't readily available. I mean, it was dark.
So the fact you didn't have those resources, did that create more damage?
Looking back, yeah, I think it did create some damage. I just didn't know how to handle it, and I didn't really have anyone helping me handle it. And mental health, no matter what you tell your best friends about it, I mean, the coach that I was closest to, who knew the most and who literally saw me at rock bottom.
Wow.
The coach that even he, there were moments where it was like, you just don't get this. And it's really hard to understand someone that struggles with depression or anxiety. But for me, it was like depression. So when I wrote the song, the song's called The New Strong, and it's talking about, it was kind of like I was kind of getting through that. I was kind of at the tail end of that really bad low. And I wrote a couple songs about just coming out on the other side a little bit stronger and how it looks different. And
we love your
yeah.
we love your music. We love your music, definitely. We gotta get a bomb for that too. You have beautiful music. I love listening to your music. I fucking fell asleep listening to your
That's
music.
awesome.
It was great. It was so inspirational. But most importantly, it was coming from some place. A little dark was in there. There was a little darkness in there, right? And that's the part I connected with.
Yeah.
Okay, we all go through traumatic experiences in life that leads to depression, anxiety, loneliness, separation, suicide, unfortunately. So the list goes on. So a lot of stuff that you're talking about is also inspirational, but also uplifting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the second you realize someone else can relate, you immediately feel it's almost like the flower blooms a little bit. It's like, I mean, and we know this, we've heard it our whole lives, like that a lot of people go through the things we go through individually, but no one talks about it, right? And in the song, in the new Strong, one of the verses that I repeat a lot, I say, don't ask how it's going, nothing here you'll be showing. And it's kind of like, when I was writing, it was like this battle you have with yourself, like, I don't want anyone to ask how I'm doing because I'm not going to tell you anyways. And that's like literally how I felt. And like the first verse is like, I'm staring straight forward, like I have a wall up, I'm focused, and I'm not letting anyone in. And like I feel in it, I'm not saying that's the way to live your life, but when you're surviving, that's what it is.
Right.
Don't ask me how I'm doing because you couldn't even handle the real answer if I gave it to you.
Wow.
So and I knew that song, you know, it kind of has a boppy, uplifting sound to it, but I knew that there were lines in that song that unless you got it, you didn't get it. You know, like I knew that, but
right,
that was written from a real place.
Yeah. Very good song.
So
Continue to make music.
oh, there's plenty.
Okay.
There's plenty.
Tell people where to get your music.
I mean, I'm pretty good about sharing it on social media, but
Okay.
Spotify, I mean, all this, Apple Music,
Right.
iTunes, all those streaming platforms, the like record label
Right.
that you have to kind of register with when you decide to stream your music,
Right.
they automatically share it, like
Right.
iRadio or iHeartRadio, all those platforms they share it with. So, you know, if you search Kelsey Campbell and just search like one of my songs, like Kelsey Campbell Mantra, you can find my channel.
Love it.
Kelsey Campbell is not the most unique name, believe it or not, but yeah. So
Yeah, they'll get it.
yeah.
So with your love life right now, you have a fiance, right? And you're not really used to that lifestyle with the fiance and the commitment thing, and because you have to really train and focus on, you know, your health, your mental stability, source of income, etc. So now, in comparison, you're living like a new lifestyle, like, and compared to what you used to live.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of weird because growing up, I was like, I'm never gonna get married because very early on, like when my parents divorced, it's weird. But I remember thinking like, oh yeah, this is what adults do. It was like weird.
Yeah.
It's like weird for a kid to think that. But that was kind of and I always wanted kids, but I was like, why would I get married? Like I had never seen one example except for like fictional TV where people like got married and it worked.
Yeah, made it.
And then I had my high school sweetheart, which obviously that did not end well. We broke up after high school, but that like changed me a little bit to where I was open, where I was like, oh, like you could. So then suddenly I would cry at chick flicks and stuff like that. It was weird. And it was like that for a while. And I was in other relationships, and I was in this relationship in like 2015, that was really serious unexpectedly. And it didn't end well. And I kind of feel like he led me on, but I like allowed it, you know? It's not like it was hard to see. I was just in it, you know?
Oh, so you was going for the ride.
Yeah, you just believe the lies, right? And then, and that was very heartbreaking because as an adult, I would say that was the first time my heart was really broken. Like as an adult, I was like still in the heart of competition, and it was that was challenging.
Why was your heart broken?
Because I really thought like we just had chemistry and we connected so well, and I just believed for whatever reason that he was the one. It's always laughable in hindsight, but in the moment I really thought like why. And I was the kind of person that was I gave him an out many times. I'm like, I don't like, if you don't want to pursue this, we don't have to. Like there were opportunities to not.
Do you feel he was pressured, or he didn't want to?
No, I think he just wanted a companion. I think he didn't know what he wanted. I think it was kind of a cliche, to be honest, and I just ate it up. And I do think we had great chemistry, but just because it feels right, if it's not the right time, it's just not right. And I think that is true. And so we broke up, and that was very hard for me. And I think before that relationship, I was like, I really want to find my soulmate and my person and this and that. And I think now I don't even know, like, I think I don't necessarily feel like I need that, which took me a lot of heartbreak and years to get to the point where I'm like, I need to be married. I need this. I need that. I don't, I think where I'm at with just myself, like I'm like, the main thing is you have to make sure you love you, and you got to make sure that you're working on you constantly. And I don't shortcut myself ever. I mean, my fiance and I, we disagree on a lot of things. And when we first started seeing each other, it wasn't with the intent of anything long term. I think we were just both in not great spots.
How long you been dating?
Like about 4 years. So it's been a couple of years. And he's great. He's incredible, and I'm very lucky. But you know,
who don't want to get married? Who don't want to get married?
You know, I think he would get married like today if I was like, let's go to Vegas. But I'm kind of like,
wait a minute.
I'm kind of like I think marriage is beautiful, and I tell everybody this. I think it's beautiful, and it really is. You know, have you ever seen that movie? It's the J-Lo movie. It's Made in Manhattan.
Of course.
So her grandmother is in the like elderly care living place with her like really old boyfriend, and they've been there for like 4 years or so, and they're like old. And finally, after J-Lo was like lying about her whatever, she's not like made with her man or whatever, and then her grandma's like, all these years I realized he's been taking care of me and I'm gonna marry him. And they've been engaged for like 3 decades. And I told him before he even proposed to me, I was like, I just want you to know that this is probably what it's going to look like. And I'm like, I'm not telling you to change your mind, but if you want this, this is what it is. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lead you on. I'm committed.
Right.
But we might actually be in an assisted living community before we actually get hitched.
Wow. Jeez.
So, I mean, that's as real as I am. Like, I don't, you know, I've allowed so many relationships to talk me out of my mental health and my emotional health. And I've just allowed so many things to happen that.
Not again.
And I mean, I've been a bridesmaid in a lot of weddings. And weddings are so beautiful. And marriage is so beautiful. But I'm not even gonna say it's not for me. I'm just gonna say this is where I'm at, and this is where I've been at for a few years. And I will say this though. I did tell him, like, if we went to Australia, I would marry you. Like, if you offered, yeah, because I'm like obsessed with Australia. It's like my favorite place.
Okay.
So there's some loopholes to this, but
Okay. So some people would say that's misleading for you to do. Do you think it's misleading for you to do, or it's not misleading because he's aware of your principle and your understanding of marriage, so it's not misleading? But some people say it is because you're still with him and he has hope.
yeah, I mean, people are allowed to think whatever they want, but
Right.
I'm not misleading him. I'm thorough. I mean, I've talked your ear off for a couple hours now. I don't cut corners. So if he feels misled, he just wasn't listening. So, but no, I don't feel like I've misled him.
Okay.
I feel like I've been so honest and straightforward in a way I never was before.
Wow.
And I'm, maybe if my other relationships had gone different, I wouldn't feel this way. But all I can say is this is where I'm at.
Right. Okay. So we're getting ready to wrap it up. I want to know, is there anything you want to say or get off your chest, or just a general spill?
I feel like after this, like whoever hears this is going to really, really like me or really, really not like me. So, I don't know.
They better like you because I love you. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
You want this motherfucking JJ.
I'm just trying to be me. So just listen to the music, and Mantra's really good.
Yeah.
It's hard to not smile when you hear that song.
Yeah, it's hard to not love it when you hear that song.
That's an upbeat one. My dad inspired that one, so
nice.
You know.
That's an anthem. That's
yeah,
that's
it's
an
supposed
anthem.
to be.
It's an anthem. Love it. So I want to thank Kelsey Campbell for coming out. You was most lovely.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time, and thank everybody for watching, support. We say a lot of things on this show that a lot of people's not going to agree with, but that's the world we're living in.
I feel like if Joe Rogan was black, that's how I feel. I'm like, we just did a Joe Rogan.
Pretty much.
I feel like that's what we just did.
Pretty much.
I don't even listen to Joe Rogan, but people like that stuff.
It's the better version of Joe
right?
Rogan.
It's
This
the
is
better
like,
version.
I'm the upgraded, okay?
Upgrade.
I'm tripping with motherfucking JJ.
For sure. Kelsey Clinton, we're going to log out. You're welcome here anytime, any place, anywhere. Same channel, same motherfucking time. I'm inspired by everything you said.
Thank you.
Okay? We're out of this motherfucker.
I don't give a fuck. You're tripping with JJ.
Wow!
Fuck you, asshole.
Tell your bitch I said hi, nigga.
Any crime from this room.